puja. Bed puja. Bed.
Do you know where to switch on the mic?
Yes. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Okay, good. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamuna Ravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Shri Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava,
Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya
Divine Grace, Laisi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Shri Guru. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Fürs warme Wasser. So today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, Text 62. Mamaite.
Sorry, today is Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday, yeah.
So tomorrow we'll give it the verse 64.
Yeah, apparently something went wrong. Can you check what? I think I made some mistake.
Yeah, yesterday was 61, but the last week was already 61.
But then on the list today is 62 and tomorrow 64. What does it say?
Today is 62, tomorrow 64.
Yes, right.
Oh, it's 63.
I did a mistake. So, hold on. Tomorrow is Ma Krishna and Friday Krishna Vaimoga. So maybe I will inform you can do 63 instead. Is it okay?
Okay.
Sorry. Mamaite manasayat yat
Mamaite manasayat
asavahang iti bruvan
asavaham iti bruvan
grinya tatpuman radham karmayena punarbhavaha mamaite manasayat yat
Mamaite Manasayat Yat
asavaham iti bruvan
Asavaham iti bruvan
Grinya tatpuman radham
Vinyata Punadradham
karmayena punarbhavaha
Karmayena Punarbhavaha
mamaite manasayat yat
Mamaite Manasayat Yat
asavaham iti bruvan
Asavaham iti bruvan
Grinya tatpuman radham
Vinyata
karmayena punarbhavaha.
Karmayena Punarbhavaha.
Please chant.
Mamaite Manasayat Yat
Mamaite Manasayat Yat
Asavaham iti bruvan
asavaham iti bruvan
Grihniyat tatpuman radham
Grihniyat punardham
Karmayena Punarbhavaha.
Mataji.
Mamaite manasayat yat
Mamaite Manasayat Yat
asavaham iti bruvan
Asavaham iti bruvan
Grihniyat punardham
Grihniyata Pumanradham
karmayena punarbhava
Karmayena Punarbhavaha.
Mamaite manakam yat yat
Mamaite Manasayat Yat
asavaham iti bruvan
Asavaham iti bruvan
grinita pam pumanrakam
Grihniyata Pumanradham
karmayena punarbhava
Karmayena Punarbhavaha.
Mama, mind, ete, all these, that's a mistake. Manasa, by the mind. Mama should mean mine. What does it say in your translation?
In Russian, mind.
I don't think it's correct. Mama means mine, not mind. Here it says mind.
In Russian also mind.
Yeah, maybe, anyway. Mama aham mama mameti. No, that's the mamaite.
Mamaite.
So mama ete, all these manasa,
Manasa.
by the mind.
By the mind.
Yat,
Yat.
whatever.
Whatever.
Aso,
So
that. Aham, I am, in brackets am. Iti, thus. Bruvan, accepting. Griniyat, takes with him. Tat, that. Puman, the living entity. Radham, perfected. Karma, work. Yena, by which. Punaha, again. Bhavaha, material existence. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The living entity labors under the bodily conception of I am this, I am that. My duty is this, and therefore I shall do it. These are all mental impressions, and all these activities are temporary. Nonetheless, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity gets a chance to execute all his mental concoctions, thus he gets another body. Purport. As long as one is absorbed in the bodily conception, his activities are performed on that platform. This is not very difficult to understand. In the world we see that every nation is trying to supersede every other nation, and that every man is trying to advance beyond his fellow man. All these activities are going on under the name of advancement of civilization. There are many plans for making the body comfortable, and these plans are carried in the subtle body after the destruction of the gross body. It is not a fact that after the gross body is destroyed, the living entity is finished. Although many great philosophers and teachers in this world are under the impression that after the body is finished, everything is finished, this is not a fact. Narada Muni says in this verse that at death one takes his plans with him, Griniyat, and to execute these plans he gets another body. This is called Punarbhavaha. When the gross body is finished, the plans of the living entity are taken by the mind, and by the grace of the Lord, the living entity gets a chance to give these plans shape in the next life. This is known as the law of karma. As long as the mind is absorbed in the laws of karma, a certain type of body must be accepted in the next life. Karma is the aggregate of fruitive activities conducted to make this body comfortable or uncomfortable. Interesting. We have actually seen that when one man was about to die, he requested his physician to give him a chance to live 4 more years so that he could finish his plans. This means that while dying he was thinking of his plans. After his body was destroyed, he doubtlessly carried his plans with him by means of the subtle body, composed of mind, intelligence and ego. Thus he would get another chance by the grace of the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul, who is always within the heart. Sarvasya jaham rinisani vishto, matta smritir jnanam apohanamcha. In the next birth, one acquires remembrance from the Super Soul and begins to execute the plans begun in the previous life. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita in another verse. Ishvaraha sarvabhutanam riteshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra ruddhani mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Situated on the vehicle given by material nature, and reminded by the supersoul within the heart, the living entity struggles all over the universe to fulfill his plans, thinking, I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I am an American, I am an Indian, I am a Swiss, and so on. All these designations are of the same essence. There is no point in becoming a Brahmana in preference to an American, or becoming an American in preference to a Negro. After all, these are all bodily conceptions under the modes of material nature. Om Ajnana Timirarahasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Miltam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudhi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarupesha Kripa Sindhu Begocha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavirpyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadesha Tarine. Mamaiti manasayat yat asafahamiti bruvan griniyatat puman radham karmayena punarbhavaham. The living entity labors under the bodily conception of I am this, I am that, my duty is this, and therefore I shall do it. These are all mental impressions, and all these activities are temporary nonetheless. By the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity gets a chance to execute all his mental concoctions, thus he gets another body. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. So we're continuing in this section of Bhagavatam, which describes the transmigration of the soul in a very scientific way. And today we are hearing about the false ego, the designation, which is the most subtle element. The identity is the subtle foundation of life, material life and also spiritual life. So the identity, literally identity means identical. No, this word identical. Identity means that conception I have with what I'm identical with. That's my identity. And identical means it's me. No, that's me. And it has two aspects, as we hear in this verse and other verses in the scriptures, mama and aham. So I am, and this belongs to me. Ishvaroham aham bhogi, aham mameti. Always these two concepts. I am this, and because I'm this, that belongs to me. I'm the king of this kingdom, and the kingdom belongs to me. In Jyotish, the soul, the king, and he's ruling the whole kingdom. He's identifying with the whole kingdom. So this identity is the basic foundation for conditioned life, and on the other hand it can also be the basic foundation for liberated life, for spiritual life. And Prabhupada gives a few examples in the purport how this ahankar can manifest. I'm a Brahmana, I'm a Kshatriya, I'm an American, I'm an Indian. So these are all very subtle, and you can see how subtle this is. You know, the ego is very subtle. And I was thinking that because Prabhupada also speaks about plan making, and this could also be a nice topic, plan making, but I would like to speak about the identity, the ego, and how we can to a little bit understand about the ego, the false ego, and especially to see how we can check, because how can we check what is the condition of my ego? That no is interesting to know, because it's so subtle. No, I can check the condition of my body by looking at it, by feeling it, touching it, and whatever. But how do we test our ego, or what's the test of the ego? And then how can we actively diminish our ego? That's a little bit what I thought we can focus on today. So, of course, this very gross, even though it's a subtle thing, it can become very gross. I'm a man, I'm Swiss, I'm white, I'm black. So even though it's very subtle, the ego, it becomes very gross, because it becomes connected with the gross body. And so, of course, most of us, we don't walk through life in this way, because we get to hear in the scriptures, I'm a soul, I'm a spirit soul, I'm not this body. So then we're not outing ourselves anymore that I'm a man. But maybe what we say is not always how we really feel, how we really identify. So the first thing to understand is, as always, we have to cultivate the right ego and let go of the wrong ego. So it's a process of transformation. Ego has to be there. Everything which is existing is real, in the sense that it has its original form in the spiritual life form, but now it's perverted, so it has become purified. I have to apologize because my plan was to come down for Guru Puja and then go to prepare, but I felt maybe I should now surrender to the Mridanga and do a service for the Vaishnavas and Krishna. And so I wanted to put together a few quotes, and I will try to find them here. So this identity is natural, and there's this very nice verse which Mahakrishna Prabhu chants every morning. Naham pitra na chanara patir, na pivaishu na shudro, naham varninancha grihapatir no manusto yatirva kintu prodya nikila paramananda purnamra taptir gopi vartu padakamayor dasa dasa nudasaha. When one does the Shila Puja, we chant this mantra before, and Mahakrishna usually does the Shila Puja every day, so he's chanting that. I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya or a Shudra, nor am I a Brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprastha or a sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance. This is a verse from Srila Rupa Goswami, which he quotes in Padyavali. So he's giving in one verse the don'ts and do's of the identity crisis, that we shouldn't identify with this, but we should identify as a servant of Krishna, and not even as a servant of Krishna, but as a servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. And in this way he reveals that the devotee has to be careful not to even develop some spiritual false ego, that I am a servant of Krishna, and everybody step aside, I'm here. So that's, and we know in Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition that's a very essential point. So that we're trying to cultivate, and we're trying to give up the other, and the tendency is there that we approach things external. The tendency is there to take things externally. That, let's take a very gross example. I'm not a woman, so now I'm not gonna dress it like a woman anymore. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna dress like a renunciate, for example. And maybe that person is not really on the level of that, maybe still identifying with this body externally as a woman, so then it becomes external and artificial. And in our scriptures we see many examples how this ego cannot really so much be detected externally, but it's a very internal thing. And I would like to actually speak today a little bit about the pastime, especially because I felt I can nicely connect it. I got this book on my birthday from Kandas. It's called Sadhavo Hridayam Mayam, and it's Shiva Maharaj giving some nice explanation about the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. And this pastime very much brings out this point of ego and how it doesn't have so much to do with external things. Because Maharaj Ambarish, from an external point of view, you could say he was Ishvara, the controller as a king, and in a way also naturally also the bogi. He is a king, he has a huge kingdom, he has a lot of wealth and facilities. So yeah, he's the controller and enjoyer. Externally it looks like. And on the other hand, we have Durvasa Muni being a renunciate, who's, as a yogi, is living renounced. I think he's celibate, Durvasa Muni. Do you know that? I don't know. He's not married, probably. So he's a brahmachari or a sannyasi, and he walks around with method locks, and he doesn't wear regular clothes. So externally he's very renounced. But in this pastime, it was revealed that the actual test is internal. It's not external. How much we actually identify on the spiritual or the material platform. And we know, we spoke about, no, Prabhupada mentions these identifications very grossly. I'm an American, I'm an Indian. But it can also become very subtle that I'm very knowledgeable, I'm very renounced. Like in Durvasa Muni's case, he was certainly not on the gross platform, but he was subtly identifying himself with his intellect and so on, his qualities. And Srila Prabhupada, he, in Krishna book, no, because that's what I said, it will be nice to understand how can we know what's the state of our ego. And Prabhupada, in the Krishna book, he makes a very nice statement. This is in chapter 89. And Prabhupada here tells the story of Bhrigu Muni testing who is the greatest. And so he tells the story, we know the story how so he first went to Brahma, and Brahma is actually his father, and he didn't really show proper respect, so Brahma got angry. And Shiva, what he did with Shiva? He always did a little bit more, became more severe, his disrespect.
Did he want to embrace him, like on a very friendly level, connect with him?
Okay, yeah, he wanted to embrace him, and Shiva became upset, and then Vishnu, he kicked him with his foot on his chest. So, and then Prabhupada says, one's greatness has to be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. So powerful statement. Because that's where the ego gets revealed. What means a provoking situation? It means that either the body, the mind, or the intellect is hurt or is attacked. Let's say Haridas Thakur, he was beaten. It's an attack on the body, it's a provoking situation. And Haridas Thakur, he didn't even care about it. So he was tolerant. Or actually even more difficult than physical is when it comes to the platform of the mind and the ego. Actually when it comes to the platform of the subtle body. And this Krishna explains also in Bhagavad Gita. He tells Arjuna that actually, especially for Kshatriya, if people will speak bad about you, it's even worse than dying. It's so painful. Which is interesting. It's so painful for a Kshatriya. Rather, the Kshatriya would give up his life than tolerating insult. So, and in this pastime of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni, we see how both deal with a provoking situation as a Vaishnava and as a conditioned living entity. The story, you all know it. Ambarish Maharaj, he was a king in Mathura, and he was observing Ekadashi. And on the next day after Ekadashi, usually we break the fast. Dvadashi day, we break the fast. We either take grains or whatever. And Ambarish Maharaj, he was doing complete fast on Ekadashi day. So the next day he had a whole, at that time, and his mood as a king was, he would do things very ritualistic, very correct. So he had a whole thing how he would break the fast. And when the time came to break the fast, Durvasa Muni arrived on the spot with his, how many disciples? 60,000 disciples. And Ambarish Maharaj, being the perfect gentleman, perfect king, perfectly situated in the culture, he invited him for prasadam. But Durvasa Muni said, I first want to go to the Jamuna and take a bath before taking prasadam. So he went to the Jamuna, and while he was taking bath in the Yamuna, Ambarish Maharaj, you know, like when we break Ekadashi, there's a certain time where you should be breaking the fast according to the astrological constellation. And what happened, the time was running out for him to break the fast. So, and he was still bathing, and the culture is that if you didn't accommodate the guest and feed the guest first, you are not allowed to take prasadam. It's an offense. So Ambarish Maharaj was in a conflict. He wanted to accommodate Durvasa Muni, at the same time he wanted to break the fast. So he consulted, I think, with Brahmins, and they told him, okay, you drink some water, because in the scriptures it said, if you drink water, it's considered breaking fast, but it's considered not eating. So it's, yeah. So he did that, and Durvasa Muni, being Durvasa, he immediately realized what happened. And of course it was all, in this book it comes out very nicely, this was all a pastime under the control of Krishna. He wanted actually to show the greatness of the Vaishnava. And Durvasa Muni, when he realized that Ambarish Maharaj, he broke the fast, he became so angry. And he started to curse Ambarish Maharaj. And he decided, he's such a huge offender, I will kill him. And he created a demon. It's like, it's very improportionate. But here we can see also the danger of anger, that if one becomes angry, one can lose complete touch with reality. Just because the king drank one sip of water, he wanted to kill him, and he was a great devotee. So he created this demon, and the demon attacked Ambarish Maharaj. And Ambarish Maharaj was a perfect devotee, and the perfect devotee, one of the symptoms is he will not protect himself. He will protect everybody else, but not himself. So, and what then happens is Krishna will protect the devotee. And he protected him by sending the Sudarshan Chakra, and I think the Sudarshan Chakra killed the demon, and then the Sudarshan Chakra went after Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni flee. And it's a whole story, we're a little bit short in time. Durvasa Muni tried to find help, first with Brahma, who said, I cannot help you, it's the Sudarshan, it comes from Narayan. He went to Shiva, he said, I cannot help you, it comes from Narayan. Then he went to Narayan, and Narayan said, I cannot help you either. Because you offended my devotee, and I cannot help you, it's my nature that I protect my devotee. And then it's a long conversation described here, but basically he tells him, if you really want to get free from your offense, you have to go to Ambarish Maharaj. So here we see one situation, how much of a provoking situation was this. It's not, maybe for some it's not even provoking. Let's say Krishna Prema Prabhu, you know, as a GVC, he will visit many homes, and then somebody invites him for prasadam, and he sees somebody taking a glass of water before he started to eat, and he says, what are you doing? Are you insane? This is nobody would do this. Like, but he took it as a provoking situation and made a huge thing out of it, and he wanted to kill. And Ambarish Maharaj, on the other hand, he was Durvasa Muni created a demon who tried to kill him. And how did he react? It's described that Ambarish Maharaj was waiting in Madhuvan is, I think, the forest in Vrindavan, because he was the king of Mathura, so he was going to Vrindavan to do that. He was sitting and waiting, and he would, because what happened now, that Sudarshan Chakra chased Durvasa through the whole universe, and Ambarish during that time, he was sitting and meditating, waiting for Durvasa Muni to come back so that he can feed him. And he continued with his fast, even though Durvasa Muni tried to kill him. So that shows how great that person is. And this brings out the point that it's really the test in a provoking situation, how great is the person. And as a last point, I was thinking, I was reflecting about how can we apply this in our life, because usually our ego is still quite tight. In the scriptures it is said the ego is like the what's the word? Granta? No, Granta, no, the knot in the heart. And so you can think like when you have a knot which is very tight, let's say you have shoelaces and you make a tight knot, the shoelaces, the two parts become almost one. And you see that if the ego is very strong, it becomes very difficult to see oneself, meaning to see one's own conditioning, because you become one with the conditioning, so you cannot see yourself. But then it's described that if one practices Krishna consciousness, Krishna will slowly loosen that knot. He will loosen the knot. And so it's a process, it's not, it just, maybe in some cases it just cuts through, but it loses the knot and then at one point it will be cut. And I think one thing which is practical for us, and I guess you also have the experience, sometimes we come in a provoking situation and because the knot is still a little bit tight, we tend to react in a certain way, become angry or whatever. But usually what happens, because we try to cultivate Krishna consciousness and we are not supposed to act like this, Krishna gives us a realization afterwards. Did it happen to you? That after maybe some time you look back and you see, oh my God, I completely lost it. And that's a very practical way how we can then, because that realization comes from Krishna, that we appreciate that he's showing us, and then we act like we can go and apologize and we can show humility by, and in this way we take a step from our conditioning. We become more detached, because I see that, okay, I spoke like this or I did this, but actually it's my conditioned nature. Now I have to, as a spirit soul, I should now go and apologize. And you can see if the knot is very hard, very close, a person has a hard time to admit mistakes. Like somebody can do the biggest mistake and for the whole life they will be convinced that they are right. And so that's the last point I want to mention, that mistakes happen, but as practicing devotees, this practice of going then back and reflecting and rectifying the situation is very purifying, because we are mostly not on the platform to react or act in the right way immediately. And that also has its purpose, because it's a way how Krishna humbles the devotee. Like Durvasa Muni, in the end, he's so humble, because Krishna, Narayan, revealed to him what a fool he was, what a mistake he did. And then this mistake became his asset. It became the reason for him to be humble. And by being so humble, then he became a great devotee. So thank you for your attention. Granta Shila Bhakti ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai, Vanchaka Rugasha, Susdev, Patitana, Vaishnava.
Praise Damodar Prasad Dasa.
Krishna Prema Prabhu ki jai.
Gaura Bhakti.
the other day I went to the post office and I had to bring these letters for the parcels for the gift Christmas. And one guy just became so angry at me. And you were there, I became so angry too. You know, I almost jumped at him. And after I was like, you know what's going on? I'm so conditioned. Yeah, he was very rude with me.
Why?
Because I parked the car in front of the shop, post shop door, and I kind of blocked the way. So this person came and he immediately, and I told him, please come. So I made the window down and I wanted to apologize. And he immediately yelled at me, who do you think you are? And then and then I told him, I just want to, because he said, now you're even so frech, du bist so frech, oder will ich ihm gesagt, da bitte komm. Und ich gesagt, ich kann nur eine Entschuldigung sagen. Und dann er so, aha, okay, ja. Aber anyway, es ist ja mein Recht, zu einem jungen Schnösel wie dich zusammenschießen. So hat er gesagt. Ja. And then I became so angry. And after 5 minutes I was like, my God. That was the test failed. I'm the president. I'm here in the service of the Lord.
Ja, aber war halt recht, das war ein
But we need some identification, because sometimes the Buddhists do some bad things and they told, I'm not Vaishya, I'm not Kshatri, so we need some rules. Before we not liberated soul, we need some rules and regulations.
There's some stories of authorities coming to the temple. Who is the president? And everyone was so Krishna, like false humility, you know, like sometimes you need to identify, yes, I'm in charge.
Yeah, it's in this regard, I remember one statement in Bhagavatam in connection to Dhruva Maharaj, because he became so angry that his brother was killed.
Yeah.
And
After
the question is, why did he become so angry? And the topic of anger in Prabhupada says the example of a snake who is always biting, and then the snake decides, now I want to give up my anger and not bite anymore. And then what happens? All the people start to beat the snake.
Yes.
And the snake goes to the sadhu, and the sadhu says, okay, you just hiss at them. So then they will leave you alone.
Yeah.
And in this way sometimes the devotee has to live in order to live in this world.
Yeah. Because when you not give some counter arguments, they sitting on your...
Yeah, exactly. They trample on you. But I can tell you in this situation there, it was nothing. It was like pure false ego.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna.